I talk to a lot of business owners where they think something has happened in their day and they'll be like, here's what just happened. Here's how I'm navigating it. What do you recommend? And I'm like, I recommend you go to sleep. When you wake up tomorrow, that's not...
It's not going to be the biggest
Everything
thing.
is going to be fine.
Yeah.
It's
going to work itself
And so we've also had to learn that. And if you can reach that point in a business, I think you're going to add like 5 to 10 years of your life expectancy.
Totally. All right. Welcome back to the In Between podcast. I'm Matt.
I'm Jenna.
And we are diving back into part 2 of an episode we started last time, talking about marriage and business, how to be married together, and not only married, but thriving in your marriage, and also own and operate a business together, and let your passions and desires and ambitions, all of that roll together with your family life, and how does that work and balance. So let's dive right in. I mean, what do you... I want to give our listeners some tips and a little bit behind the curtain. This isn't the only way to deal with marriage. We are not marriage counselors, but these are some things that we have found either by trial and error, by doing it the wrong way or doing it the right way and getting wisdom from people in our lives. So how do we deal? What's one thing that's super important in both of those related to our situation? Yeah.
So, well, first, this is a part 2. So if you're just joining us here, make sure you've listened to part 1 on marriage and business. It did spill over here into part 2. So this is a continuation of that. So if you want to hear our story about how the business started, how we kind of got into business together while also being married, listen to that first, then hop over here. We're going to lean into a little bit more intricacies of that. But your original question...
Just some principles, some tips, some trips, maybe related to, let's talk about communication.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Communication. Yeah. It's vitally important in our business, but it's vitally important in our marriage as well, right? Yeah. Both verbal, written, text, voice memo.
Well, like
all the things in 2024, right? It's all communication. You have to communicate, right? I
kind of talk about this in episode 1, but I feel like our responses and answers would be very different now here in 2024 compared to day 1. Day 1, I felt like within the business, we over communicated. I felt like there were no boundaries. I felt like it was just our business and it happened Monday through Sunday and no days off and 24/7 and 360, it was just crazy. But we work in an industry, we service an industry of real estate that is cool. I'll just say that it's cool to go nonstop. Yeah. It's cool to...
The harder you grind, the higher you go.
The harder you go, no sleep, no days off, and I actually very distinctly remember at one point in time, had to have been a couple years back at this point, a client of ours reached out to our office one time and was actually upset that we weren't servicing, properties on Sundays, which seems so normal for us because although we worked 24/7 back then, our office has always been closed on Sundays.
Just like Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, it's very important to us.
Yeah.
But in our industry that we service and serve, that's very taboo. They don't clock in, they don't clock out. It is their own business. There is probably no one there answering the phones for their real estate business. It's them answering their personal text messages. Right. So we're already set up for loss there because we personally don't operate our business that way. We do have a business phone number. We do have open and close times. We do check out in the evenings to be with our kids. Yeah. We do, like our staff does as well, all of that. So in the beginning, it felt even more urgent and it felt even more important that we worked all the time. Yeah. And if we weren't working, if we weren't talking about it, I personally felt like the stigma was you weren't successful.
Exactly.
And
if you weren't grinding, someone else was, is what I thought. Yeah. Or someone else is going to copy a little bit of what I've done and take it further because I I got tired. It's like that blog people start and then you never finish. It's that podcast you start and you never continue, right? It takes a lot to have endurance in anything, whether it be fitness, your mind, whether it be launching a business idea, whatever it is, you have to want it so bad that it doesn't matter and continue to keep pushing through to that.
So true. But I felt like our greatest success and growth point was a point where we actually sat down and said, all right, what is going to create true longevity?
Because the burnout far exceeded,
the burnout was here.
Far exceeded that passion. And you wanted to get that passion, somebody else as excited about it as you.
Yeah.
So that fire could spread a little bit and they could be a manager and they could hire the right people and and now you can step back and look at something as a whole and say like, man, it's not one individual project. Whereas when you're in it, you're very well connected with every little thing that's happening. When you're not, you're looking at the big picture. And the big picture is, did we take care of the need? Did we help you market at a better level, at a higher level, and attract more clients and more things? That's our goal, is to help people win, right?
Yeah.
So when talking about like the business and being married, what are some and navigating those two? Because some of our listeners are probably wondering like communication's important, but like what are some effective ways that we communicate or resolve conflict?
So this is really
conflict
funny.
Resolution is really what people want to know about, I'm sure.
This is actually really funny right here. And actually we have a member from our staff in the room, so he's going to laugh at this.
Shout out Garrison.
But Matt and I Slack one another. Like we talk to each other on Slack, which is really funny. But oftentimes when we're talking anything business, we too don't mix our text messages usually with it, or if it's something to save at a later time. We do use like Slack even with one another's DMs, which is just funny to me, but it's the only way we've been able to separate that. And I think it's important, like for people that are listening, that when we say, here's what we do to separate this, there are some people out there that they truly just don't understand why we would do that or why we would want to do that. And for someone who's lived it, here's kind of why it is important for us to have that like separation. Is I felt like early on in our business, especially like the first year of coming on as CEO and managing, the business became much more of my identity than I preferred it to be.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even intentionally that I truly wanted it. I think at one point in my life, like I wanted that. I wanted to be like at the face and be in charge, and all of that sounded fun. I'm at the stage now where they talk about like the 3 stages of the meeting, where like the stage of like you want to be invited to the meeting, you want to be in the meeting, and you want to like be the one to cancel the meetings and just like get cliff notes. And I'm at that stage. I want the cliff notes. Like I don't want to be running the meeting. I don't want to be in the meeting. I want like the cliff notes. I want to cancel it. And
spoken from an ex-English teacher. I was the Cliff Notes person on like To Kill a Mockingbird.
But I say that analogy is just because at one point that sounded like success to me.
Sure.
And now success really is what is going to be sustainable.
Sustainable
what is longevity.
And time.
Yes.
What's going to generate more time.
More of my time, for sure.
You're a little like further along the path, realizing that time is just as important, if not more, than even making sure you're taken care of. And then you have the time to even be with your children and be a family and not work so hard. And one day we blink and both of our kids are graduated from high school. I want to enjoy it now. I want them to see us working in the business, on the business, loving each other and doing it now while they're young. And if that's hard for us, then that's the mountain we're climbing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and we've been doing that since inception.
Yeah, since inception. But I think we've gotten better at delegating. We've gotten better at tapping in other people. To put it in practical terms for anyone who's listening, that you might own a business or work with your spouse, the more that you can sacrifice some of your revenue, and the more that you can extract and delegate and hire out the things that sound exhausting to you, the quicker you're going to reach your own version of success.
Totally.
Personally, I think that for me, my version of success looks very different than the person sitting, next to me that might own an agency like ours, and their version of success is a, multi millions of dollars in a company, and don't sleep, and they travel all across the world, and it's grind, and like, that's cool. That's just your version of success. To me,
you got to appreciate the grind, but coming out of it, 6 years out of it, that's not our version of success. Yeah. It was like my version of what I thought success was for like a smidge of this whole timeline. Sure, everyone wants to be known as like, I want to be on the sidelines at the Super Bowl, like working that camera or whatever. Right. Everyone can have big ambitions, but at the same time, what is sustainable and what gives time back, right? Having clear boundaries when we're open and when we're closed, having clear communication and conflict resolution. So conflict resolution. So what are some ways you and I, something happens at work, like something blows up, and you and I haven't even had a chance to talk about it. It's 5:30. I walk in the door. You walk in the door, our kids are in the door, everyone's ready for like us to like start doing dinner, and we haven't talked about it. How would we resolve conflict in that scenario?
Well, I mean, 4 or 5 years ago, we would have just all talked about it right then.
I would have just started yelling loudly.
Nowadays, I feel like we're a little bit more aware enough. We won't be talking about it until the kids go to bed. Yeah. So it doesn't really matter if something's literally on fire, if something burnt, it just, we'll talk about it when we
But that didn't come naturally. Yeah. That came from us doing it the wrong way. Yeah. A lot of times me bringing up, like Jenna referenced, bringing up important things, but at not opportune times.
I guess to put a definition to what you're speaking to, when you say something just went down, it would be more like a client just fired us. We just fired a client. It would be one of our media pros just got in a fight with a homeowner, or I don't know, something.
Got attacked by a dog, or
they got like something bad has happened, and now we have to deal with it. And
there's so much crazy stuff that has happened. Maybe we'll bring some of our team on, and we can talk about some of what's the craziest thing you've seen in the field, because it's wild.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, you guys are in personal houses.
Just a situation that you and I would be not heated, but passionate about talking about something that either went wrong or could have went better or whatever. Yeah. It's dinner time. Yeah. How do we resolve this conflict?
Yeah. I mean, at this point in the game, like, we probably won't be resolving anything right then. And I'm actually really,
that's the answer.
Really happy to say that. Like, it hasn't always been that way. So.
Understanding that. It's not all going to be fixed right away. Yeah. So why are we going to melt?
The earth doesn't stop. Yeah. Like, we're fine. We're going to keep going. A lot of things that happen in business, and I talk to a lot of business owners too. If you've listened to our episodes, you've heard that I do consulting. And I talk to a lot of business owners where they think something has happened in their day, and they'll be like, here's what just happened. Here's how I'm navigating it. What do you recommend? And I'm like, I recommend you go to sleep. Because when you wake up tomorrow, that's not...
It's not going to be the biggest
everything
thing.
is going to be fine.
Yeah. It's going to work itself
out. And so we've also had to learn that. And if you can reach that point in a business, I think you're going to add like 5 to 10 years of your life expectancy in business. Totally. Because if you are constantly living in this like, oh, everything's urgent, everything's on fire, everything is, and I'm laughing about that because we have lived that.
Like, our hair still smells burnt coming out of that season. I have more grays
because of that than needed. And I think some people would just look outside looking in. That's so silly. I remember we had one person worked on our staff that was like, how long are you gonna run this way? Like, how long? I'm just curious how long you got it in you, in your legs, to run at this level of exhaustion, and everything that happens is so earth-shattering, and so-and-so called and they're mad, and now we have to talk about it for a week, and it's just like, it's way too much to sit there and ponder and think about and chew on and continue going around the mountain and talk about. At this point in the game, I'm like, you know what I'm going to do if that happens at 5:30? I'm probably going to go make some spaghetti for my kids. We're going to get in the bathtub and then we're going to read some books before bed and probably sing and dance. And then by 8 o'clock, if I want to think about it, maybe I'll think about it, but I'll probably be going to bed because I get up every day at 5 a.m. and go to the gym.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely not thinking about it during my workout because that's me time. So I'll probably think about it the next day at work. That's it.
Next day.
And if you have a problem with that, you probably should not be a client.
But that's the balancing act. It's not, it's not being rude about it.
Yeah.
It's just doing it for so many years the wrong way.
Yeah.
It does like make you feel
Eating
like,
you
gosh, do I even
alive
really want to
way-
do this at all
Yes.
anymore? And you have to see past like the negative side and see that the glass is still half full. Like you are still positive. This is still a positive experience for so many people, clients and yourself, but got to learn how to manage stress.
Yeah.
It's stress management, right?
Yeah.
And honestly, I mean, I'm a faith-filled Christian, like without like God saying, cast your cares upon me, I care for you. Like you're not supposed to be able to carry burdens that are that big.
Yeah.
So if we're stressing out over it, it's more so, hey, in the beginning, I just had to realize, I'm like, oh, she's not getting like flustered like me. She must not care.
Yeah.
And that was the focal point of so
really just
many
trying to protect
of
myself.
our arguments. You were like, no, I do care too much.
Yeah.
I would say like another big key in just balancing like marriage and business together and both of them coinciding together healthy would be like the actual aspect of balancing roles. Like roles in not only in the business, but also, I mean, staying in our lanes in the business, but also roles around the house, roles with our kids. Do you want to kind of talk any to that?
I think a lot of that is to attribute to being married to, I think, a man who isn't prideful when it comes to roles. And
I'd say that's fair. Yeah.
Like you've always been, you've never been like, you're the woman and I'm the man. And
because I don't believe that.
Yeah.
Like I just don't think
you've
that
just
way.
always been like, who's the most skilled at it? And me too. Whoever has the most skill set to complete it, you know. And
my mom to me is one of the most powerful people I've ever known in my life. She's a woman. It's not just because she's my mom, because she can get done.
Yeah.
Love you, Mom. But like, you know, I married someone that reflected that times a million. So like roles were never continue. I don't mean to interrupt you, but yeah, anyone who thinks that way
convo
in 2024, if you're a man and you're still thinking that way, just solely from the sake of chromosomes being different, that someone's not there, like, dude, we've already been over that mountain, been over that hill, like, go get over it.
But
like,
I also, at the same time, I think outside looking in, a lot of people ask me like, how do you do that? How do you have kids, and how are you, you know, have a still successful marriage and business is growing and all of that. And really it's a team sport is just what I say.
Totally.
Because on the other side of that too, there is no, in the way we parent, in the way we raise our girls, we are equally in it together.
Totally.
And so there is no like default, like mom does this every time,
right,
or dad does this every time. We very much, I can't think of one
we
thing.
trade like almost every day.
Every day we do different things.
I'll take Charlie, you'll take Goldie.
Yep.
You'll take Goldie, I'll take Charlie.
Places, getting them up, baths,
Yep.
You know, you name it. We're probably taking turns making it happen. And so that's another thing, is just having someone who's in it with you together that sees past, I think, the roles and like maybe some norms that would be normal for families, because it would be exhausting to be, I think, in a marriage that
a stereotypical marriage where I come home from work, you come home from work, you're just as exhausted as me, but I'm expecting you as a woman to cook dinner, keep the kids tame so I can kick my feet up because I've been working a job all day.
And I'm not saying that's everyone's
sounds
story.
like the working class of yesteryear, right?
Yeah,
like literally, sure. But like, I mean, you have to understand, like, I understood, woman or not, Jenna is equipped to do certain things that I am either equipped but wouldn't do as good of a job at it. Nearly, Jenna can do it effortlessly, spinning it, but she does like 6 different things. And just balancing those roles, trying to take as many of those things that drive her crazy and or let her do only things that only Jenna can deal with and let me take everything else and let's start there. And if I'm overwhelmed, I'll raise my hand. Neither of us are like offended at like saying to the other one, can you help?
No,
it's always been easy for me being the youngest of 2 kids, but you grew up as an only child. Like you've shared with me numerous times, like it was hard in our marriage, you asking me to help you. You were Miss Independent. It's what I love about you. It's what I like. You will make it happen already. Like someone thinks about it, they stew over it. Jenna's like already got the website made. It's already launched out. But that's what I love about you. But 2 totally different people coming together, and we're both not only married but owning and operating the business. Like there's gonna cause some differences. And well, I was raised. I always needed. If I needed help, I knew how to raise my hand, and I didn't. But I knew how to be confident. You have to be confident. And if you're not, you better ask a question, get confident before you take your step. But as long as you're stepping forward, you're confident. So balancing those roles is a big thing. Would you say like regularly probably adjusting those roles as needed? You talked about that. We switch all the time.
And we switch all the time. And then also, I mean, there's some nights I have to work. Some nights you have to work. And we just,
some nights the girls got dance, some nights they got this, and
it's just, I think being communicative. We have shared calendars. We know what one another's calendars look like, so we never have to stop and ask, what's your day look like? I'm the type that I map out everything in my day, even if it's just for me.
Everything's on that calendar.
Everything. Like
I don't have to ask Jenna. I just look at my phone and I'm like, she's here right now.
Yeah, from eating to meetings to working out to, my calendar starts, very, very early, and it is set up to a T. And then I also go to bed a little earlier too. So I feel like just knowing the structure, having that open. And then we also have a shared month calendar for the family. That's a hand one. Just we map it out, marker board. And we usually sit down and we forecast. We look like, okay, like what does September look like for us? What is October, November, December? Like we're very planned out.
We look at family first. We're a lot better in this season, just having 2 girls and like being at it a little bit longer to hash those things out. Because if you do not put family stuff on your calendar first, it is going to be business first, family second, and it will feel that way, and it will always be that way. And then when business starts to let you down a little bit, you start to get frustrated. Who do you take it out on? Your spouse. And it's just like, it's not a healthy place to be if you can center your family first. And in order for your business to spin on its own, put those people in place. That's where you're going to see the most success, I would say. So how do you sum it up, our last point today for this episode? How do we keep the spark alive?
Well,
the
personally,
spark. Sexually, how do we keep the spark alive? Jenna's going to say every time I say something confrontational, she's going to say, cut the tape.
Personally, we are very active people.
Yes.
So we, on any given date night, we're probably going to be playing a sport. And it could be tennis. I have tennis tonight, actually. You're not coming. Tennis.
You're going to kill
it. Basketball. It could be...
Pickleball. Love pickleball.
Everyone
loves pickleball right now.
We go in
love
for a ride.
Cycling.
A run. We could,
like
really on a given night, we're probably doing something active. And I think that helps keep our spark alive, just because it keeps things fun, lighthearted, and also just a little competition with one another outside of business.
We're so competitive that like, excuse me, we can just do that and have fun with one another, doing something we both enjoy, and we're also getting a good workout in the process. You look damn good in your workout clothes, so that helps keep the spark alive. So I'm just being real. Like you get so embarrassed. Like, what's going on? The cameras are rolling now. Now you're not gonna feed back and make it funny.
I don't know.
All right, never mind.
I used to say
the tape.
Last year I was like, it kind of clicked with me. I was like, Matt looks like Travis Kelce. But then this year happened, and you lost like 100 pounds. And now you both have mustaches. And I think you actually look better than Travis Kelce now.
Oh my goodness. Travis, you hear that?
Anyways, we keep the spark alive. I feel like being friends first helps us.
Totally.
Like there are a lot of spouses that are not friends.
Hate each other.
They're just in it like a business relationship type
it's transactional.
thing. Yeah, it's transactional. And we are friends first. And all the dominoes fall after that. So.
But if you're like listening and you're like, gosh, my boundaries suck, I can't keep the spark alive, all the things, just start small. Just like start with like focusing on what's most important. If you are married, I'm a firm believer that like, if God brought you and your spouse together, like you got to do everything you can, and both people got to be on the same side. And sometimes that requires being able to fix things internally with little shifts.
Yeah.
Other times that means calling people into your marriage and being able to be transparent with you and where do you suck and where could it be better and all of that. If you're not healthy, I've realized if you and I aren't healthy in our marriage, vast is super not healthy.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a child, right? It's like a little bit of a clone of you. So like being able to like have your household in order or to the best that you can. And I'm not sitting here saying we've got it in order. We blow it. Our kids are running around with poop smeared on their hands, like all sorts of stuff. Mom, come wipe me, making dinner. Like all the things happen. Trust me, we're not like not normal. It's just realizing, just like that conflict at work, like, okay, it's not going to get solved. Everything's not going to get solved right now. The poop's going to get cleaned up, but like everything's not going to get solved. What's most important, can we prioritize on the fly? And I think you and I are really good at, you start moving and I already know what you've prioritized a lot of times without even asking. And then I'll try to, hey, just want to make sure you want me to do this. Yep. Great. And then vice versa. When I'm diving in and kids got poop all over the place, you're helping. That's a whole lot of poop. But anyway,
That is, wow.
That's not to go with keeping the spark alive. But anyway, you just got to be intentional.
Yeah.
You got to care. You got to love each other.
Yeah.
Random surprises, random, at least I'm thinking about you. If you know your partner's love language, is it words? Is it physical touch? Is it quality time? Is it words?
Which our love languages have evolved.
They've changed so much.
Yeah. So what's mine right now?
I would say yours is quality time.
Really?
I think it's quality time. You like gifts though too, but like you've always
acts of service.
Acts of service. That's one I didn't name. I forgot that one. Yeah, that's without a given.
Trying to tee you up here.
I try to make sure
to see things done.
Yeah, you always do, but that's like why I don't even think about it as like your love language is just who you are. Like the house isn't gonna be in shambles if I've been home for any period of time and I know Jenna's coming home with kids, making sure that the house is clean. I like a clean house too, but she likes to call it a quick reset all the time. I know that means get up off your butt and just grab a vacuum and start straightening up, reset whatever area you're in. Yeah. But I would say, yes, your love language is acts of service. What's mine?
Yeah. I'd probably say in this season, I feel like it's words of affirmation.
I love words, and I've always loved words. Yeah. Words and physical touch, I love. Touch, but I don't know, it's physical touch still, but I think it's quality time. Yeah. Probably just as much, if not more, than physical touch. I like words, and I like spending time together.
Yeah.
I'm so like weird, but it's like you never know when you're gonna leave this earth. So like why would we build up this successful thing and our marriage be in shambles, or why would we build this whole thing up to not enjoy it? And that's the whole point. So
it's great.
I think that's a good stopping point for today. We'll catch you in the next episode. There's our washer and dryer beeping in the background. We'll see you.